Welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Kent Adams here. I hope you're having a good day. It's the day after the election. I don't even want to go there, okay? I hope your candidate won. In some cases, I hope your candidate didn't win. But we won't go there. Lot going on. COVID has really hit this community as so many communities. And one of the industries that's probably been the hardest hit has been the hospitality industry. And you know that because you're probably not going out to lunch and dinner as often, and certainly not going out to see a musical at the arena or at the opera house and so forth. Welcome to life as it is right now. Now, we hope in 2021 things will change, but that's a while off. And we've got to get past 2020, don't we? Let's hope we do. I'm going to talk with a couple of people that are helping to give out money to help our industry and our economy grow, which is really very important, especially the small businesses. We're going to talk about that when we come back right after this.
Buying a car at Wendle Nissan really is a piece of cake. Use our online tool and do everything before you arrive, even the financing. Go to wendlenissan.com and be in your new car in no time. It's a piece of cake.
When we opened the doors the first day, we started with a counter full of maybe a dozen selections of a dozen cupcakes. We sold out, and it just went crazy from there. I'm Sally. I run Sweet Frosting's Blissful Bake Shop downtown Spokane. It's almost 40 years of baking for me. We now do between 1,000 and 2,000 cupcakes a day. The variety of cupcakes is kind of like the variety of services that STCU provides for us. Since we opened this site in 2014, they've been our banker. We are producing for 4 stores right here, so we have 35 to 40 employees at any one time. There's an STCU close to virtually every one of my stores, and every time I get a new employee, that's the first place we send them. STCU is such a good fit. It's just so convenient for me to have them as neighbors. They are always so pleasant and always so helpful, and we have a lot of little needs. They've always been behind me 100%, so it's a good thing to have that partnership.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we carry a great selection of Krylon brand spray paints, Color Master, general purpose, the Rust Protector for taking care of metal, Fusion for taking care of plastics, and the Super Max that can take care of it all.
Weather in the inland Northwest can wear you down. And if your gutters are in poor condition or you do not have gutters, you could suffer damage that could cost a fortune to fix. Rainman Seamless Rain Gutters has almost 30 years of professional experience in serving the inland Northwest region and strives to ensure customer service that is second to none, from the time you call to the end of the project.
Well, welcome back. I'm pleased to have, I almost wanted to say an old friend, but I don't mean that in the sense of age, but I've known you now for over a year, and you've been busy recently, Cindy Wendle, haven't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of fun.
Right. And someone new to me in person, Lance Beck, from the Greater Spokane Valley Chamber of Commerce. Was I close?
You nailed it.
All right, there's hope yet. There's hope yet. I always worry about getting a chamber mentioned the correct way, having been a former chamber guy at Spokane when I first came to Spokane.
It's a lot of words.
It is, yeah, it is. You're working with the county?
Correct.
On behalf of the commissioners and the staff there to help distribute some dollars to the hospitality industry that has been so hard hit with what's going on. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about how much has been allocated and what the plan is, and then we'll ask Lance to kind of talk about how he's involved.
All the details, yeah.
Yeah.
So in general, this comes from the $91 million in federal CARES funding that came to Spokane County.
Right.
And the commissioners have allocated, before this program, a $11.3 million grant program for small businesses.
Right.
A little over $2 million for PPE purchases to help support those efforts to
Right.
keep our businesses safe and customers safe.
Was that where I was to pick up out in the?
Yes,
Yes.
out of the
Okay.
fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 3,000 businesses, 3 to 4,000 businesses with the
Yes.
second round that we were able to serve.
That's great. That's
And
great.
It's fabulous. So so the commissioners have felt that it's really important to designate quite a large percentage of the CARES dollars to support the economy. And when we talk about supporting small businesses, I want to help emphasize the fact that that means jobs.
Yes, it
That's-
does.
And
Yes,
that's
it does.
people. What we equate as jobs is equal to people, and that's supporting our families, and that's supporting our all the people that live in and work in Spokane County. And so supporting, like I said, supporting businesses is supporting people.
Yeah.
And so this round came about. We were lucky to have some of the advocates in the industry and with our chambers as well in the county come to us and say, this industry is being severely impacted.
Yes.
And
yes.
we know that.
I've heard that for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, phase 3 and phase 4 continued closures. We've got capacity reductions for the restaurants. I mean, there, like you mentioned earlier, there are industries that are completely shut.
Yeah.
That are, we don't even know when they might even be able to open.
Yes.
So those jobs then are being severely impacted, and it was apparent that this industry and this sector needed additional support.
And so many jobs are really related to the hospitality industry as you look at that. I don't know, you probably have, because of your job with the chamber and so forth, leading the Valley Chamber, but I've talked to probably 40 small business people, maybe more, about, hey, how are things going? And in some cases, you could see their eyes water because I don't know if we'll continue to be in business, but I'm really worried about my family, meaning their employees, okay? And they may go bankrupt, they may close their business. I think there's a feeling out there sometimes that, well, they have their successful business. It only takes something like this to destroy jobs and cause mental illness and everything else that goes with it. What are you hearing, Lance, from small businesses?
You know, that sentiment's correct. You have the gauntlet of emotions that businesses are running through.
Yeah.
You also have some have been able to get back up and operating and find a new path. They've certainly had to modify operations, and others are modifying operations to the point where there might not be a future. And the level of personal investment back into these businesses right now is one of those things that is really starting to show. So we're depleting all sorts of reserves at the moment. And if you haven't found a way to pivot your operation and find a new path forward with a different revenue model and maybe a different expense model, it's challenging, and it's not going to change in the next month. I think that's the piece.
Probably not for many months, really, when it comes down to it. I mean, I don't think our community will be back to normal until sometime mid-21.
Your guess is as good as mine. Honestly.
Whatever we put money on we're going to lose, right?
And I think that's where when the Restaurant Association, the Hospitality Association approached our group, it should be noted that we've had success with formulating programs in the county so far. They approached us with the fact that our partner organizations, which really has been 5 of the business associations, Visit Spokane, Greater Spokane Incorporated, us at the Valley Chamber, the Downtown Spokane Partnership, and the West Plains Chamber of Commerce.
You guys are all working together, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a new landscape. So where in many cases people might have saw us as competitors, we've really, from the point of COVID starting, we've had to work together, knowing that the resources are limited and the business community's needs are growing ever so much on a daily basis. And so we partnered early and often, and that led its way to probably the first initial project was the Open Together grant program that we were able to get off the ground. And then that put the spotlight on us when the Washington Hospitality Association brought the groups of different restaurant groups together here in Spokane County, and they said, hey, we need help, and can you help us put a pitch together, essentially. And
so what's the program now? It's $10 or $11 million?
This particular grant is a $10 million grant program from the county.
Okay.
And then the application is going live today.
Yes, at
Wednesday,
5
November
o'clock.
4th at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And it will stay open until Monday, November 16th at 5 o'clock.
Okay, okay.
And-
And then decisions will start to be made soon after that? Because that's always the question. Yeah, I've applied, but then can I hold out until I'll hear and then get a check, right? And you guys before have worked really hard to get the turnaround.
Oh.
You know, I mean, you have to allow enough time to get the input and everyone to put their act together, but then, you know, and then you've got to make the decisions, and then you've got to write the checks and so forth. And that all takes time, but you guys have just turned things around really fast. So deadline is the 16th.
Yes.
When will decisions be made?
We're going to have, our target is to have the checks out to our business owners the first full week of December. So
Right,
beginning
okay.
December 7th,
Okay.
we'll probably, business owners will start to see checks
And for
in
many,
hand.
that may be the make or break time.
Oh,
You know, with,
very
because let's look at what do we usually expect in the hospitality industry in December. Everybody's having parties, everybody, you know, the business parties, the family parties, the going out to dinner and all of that. And hopefully this will get them through that. And then January for that industry is often slow too.
And we saw a lot through that industry this summer where organizations, businesses were able to pivot. They
Yes.
were able to open up outdoor seating.
Yes.
It was ironic as we pitched this proposal to the county commissioners, it was the week when we had snow. And so
Made it pretty obvious.
fall went and became winter very quickly
Yes.
in that moment. And there is a difference. I use the example of I'd like to go to the ice bar when I'm in Vegas just to have the fun of experience of sitting in an igloo and having a drink. I don't want to do that here in town for my general dinner out. And so
Hey kids, guess what? Yeah.
the notion that we could increase restaurant capacity based on outdoor seating leading into a true winter experience here in Spokane County it wasn't going to work. And so that was one of the areas that we really said, you know, they're going to need some help to get through the winter, to get to the spring when they can end up reopening those spaces. If we still have reduction in capacity, they can bring back those outdoor seating areas, those pivots in their operation to be able to service customers.
We had Mark Starr on from David's Pizza a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago now, and I brought up the fact that, well, some older people, and I'm thinking like at our house with my wife who has had heart issues last Thanksgiving and so forth, that she's got to be careful where she goes, and we all have to watch that. I think I have to be careful not to take something home to her and so on and so forth. And so the question comes up, is it safe to go out? And Mark said, Kent, our restaurants have never been more sanitized than they are now because we've got staff. We're trying to bring most of our staff back, and only 50% of the tables can we use. And when they have nothing to do, they go re-sanitize the tables and everything. I mean, Kent, it's as safe as it could be. And I've just remembered that yes, it is. But be careful, you know. But so many of these are our friends and families that have started these small businesses that we've got to support them in one way or the other. Whether it's can you do our company picnic, I mean a Christmas party, and bring something in, we'll go pick it up, or can you cater it? There are a number of ways to help in addition to giving them dollars, but we've got to patronize them as well.
And the important part of it is these businesses make up the fabric of our communities.
Yes.
I'll use an example. We had a new business, TT's Brewing, out in
Yes.
the Valley, where that part of our community needed a gathering place.
Yes.
That facility was new. It served as that gathering place for that neighborhood.
Yes.
And yet you can't gather
Darn
in those
good
numbers right now.
Barbecue, too.
Fantastic barbecue. Great beer on the side too. But you took away that ability for them to, where they were a thriving new business,
Yes.
you instantly locked down the ability for them to be successful. And so now they've pivoted. They've gone to their takeout, carry-out status, and they have their limited space inside. But it's not the same as what that business served for that piece of
Yeah, you
the
can't go
community.
there and expect to see some of your friends
Right.
and neighbors show up like you did 6 months ago or whatever. Yeah.
And so we want those places to still be here coming out of this. And I think it's critical. Our community we saw such growth in the restaurant and hospitality industry leading through 2019. we never could have expected the brakes to be slammed the way they did now.
So
the community was a different place. You look at the districts and the vibe that's changed. You look at the west side of downtown with facilities like Brick West coming online.
Yes.
You look at the Perry district. That is a dramatically different experience going through that part of town, for the better.
Have you always lived in Spokane area?
I grew up in Spokane. I
Okay.
lived here. I have 6 years apart where I lived on the Oregon coast, and
I'm
then
sorry
we came
for
back.
you. No, I'm kidding. Well, my point is, my family and I moved here 44 years ago. As I mentioned, first couple of years at the Chamber downtown, and my wife and I would go out for every Saturday for brunch, and in those days we had Perkins, and I forget the other one, but those were the kinds of choices we have. Now, if you want, and I don't know why anyone would want, you can have sushi. You know what I mean? And that's just not something personally, but there have been choices. I hate to see even the restaurants that I might not like eliminated from the scene
Well, and
because
that's-
it's taken away choices.
And it's part of what makes this area an attractive spot
Yes.
for business. And
Yes.
so as we look to expand and we look to attract new talent, grow new talent, keep the talent that's growing here.
Yeah.
As we look to attract new employers here,
Exactly.
we have to have those offerings. And so we were turning the corner on that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
to see something like this
Just
potentially
slam stop. Yeah. Okay, what's the process? Tonight at 5 o'clock, and today, and for people who are watching this at a later date, is the 4th of November, the day after election. And so the site is open starting this evening at 5 o'clock, and people have until the 16th.
Correct.
I assume at 11:59 at night?
5 o'clock. actually.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Oh, no one wants to stay up till 11:59 anymore. You learned your lesson,
We've
didn't
been there and done that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so what's the process? I own a restaurant or something to do. What do I need to do? Obviously, start by going to the website
Yes.
tonight or in the next few days.
Yep, SpokaneHospitalityGrant.com.
Okay.
And there will be the application link that you can go to.
Okay.
There's also going to be some webinars scheduled for tomorrow and Friday, so there's registration links there.
And do those
Sign
stay
for
up?
those.
They
Yes,
will,
the
yeah.
Okay,
recording will
okay,
be up.
so
be
if I
recorded.
don't catch it for some reason, and let's face it, a lot of these folks are doing a lot of their
Oh, they're
own
busy.
things.
They're running-
you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, so those webinars will be up to help answer questions.
Okay.
We have an email. Lance and his team are going to be fantastic resources, so an email and a phone call if you need questions answered. This application does have some additional financial questions in it.
Okay.
And so we anticipate that there will be those types of questions with assistance needed.
Sure.
But we really did try to work hard to keep this application as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And I'll let Lance talk to a few more details, but we really wanted newer businesses to be able to apply.
Okay.
And so if you have a business.
Those that don't have the longevity maybe to, yeah.
Yeah, so we want you to apply, and then even if your business did receive assistance already
Okay.
in the form of any CARES dollars or PPP funding, please apply.
Oh, okay.
We want to know
Okay.
about that assistance, and we'll definitely take it into consideration.
Right, right.
But we know that the restaurants and this industry did receive assistance potentially, but still need more.
Yeah.
And there's definitely room to be able to give them more.
Yeah, and I don't think when they were getting assistance before, they expected it to be all this bad,
For this long. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. All right, so questions?
Program details. So application is live today. All the information
Okay.
you can find throughout the.
We're talking about a couple hours to fill out the application?
You know,
probably?
it should take you under an hour.
Oh, really?
If
Okay.
you've pulled your financial information
Okay.
together and have it ready, you can get through the process in
Okay,
an hour.
good.
So yeah, we've tried to keep that as streamlined as possible
Good.
while still giving us enough data to make
Make an
educated
informed-
award
yes,
decisions.
absolutely.
And then additionally, the timing of it, you've just come out of this period of vote early. We're going to say get your application in early. Does that have a bearing on whether you're selected? No, not one bit. So
Okay, okay.
the process will utilize a lottery system to decide how we review
Okay,
or the
okay.
order at which applications are
Okay.
reviewed. And so as long as your
So the only
application.
pressure is 4:59 on the 16th.
And with the number of students using the internet right now, I would say Lean for 4, just in case it takes a little longer to hit submit.
We've all found everything's a little slower.
It's a little
haven't we?
slower. And then we do have a cutoff for our Q&A ability to respond to direct questions. We have that cutoff that if you have a direct question that you'd like answered, you need to either have your call or your phone call or your email into us by 12 p.m. on Friday the 13th.
Friday, we should all be able to remember that.
You should be able to remember that.
That's only fair, though.
You are allowed to reach out to us after that timeline, but there's not a guarantee we can get a response made.
Yeah,
And that's,
well, you're going on the middle of the day on Friday for a deadline that's the following Monday. Come on, folks.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
we've had
at least review it so you've got your questions.
We've had a significant number of people begin applications on the final day, and unfortunately they run into a roadblock and they don't get their application submitted. The one thing that we will say is the deadline is the deadline. If your app doesn't get submitted and you're sitting there at 5:01 trying to hit submit, we can't allow it in. So there's no grace on that end, unfortunately. The process will move on with or without you in. So encourage everybody to make sure they look at it early, look at it often. You can develop your application in a draft format when you're submitting it. So you can go in, you can fill out bits and pieces of information as time is available to you, and then you can move on, hit save, go do something else, come back to it. As long as you hit submit by 4:59 on Monday, the 16th, your application will be.
That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah, I really like that functionality of being able to save and come back and ask questions. We have a lot of business owners that want to go to their office managers or their accountants, or they need to go find information online. So that's really helpful.
Or they're working the food line or whatever, and they need to, to take care of a customer.
They're busy.
Especially in a period of modified staffing. I mean, we understand that the owner is often on the floor of these organizations. We've scheduled our Q&A webinars for Friday, this week, Friday the 6th, at times that were specifically requested by the hospitality industry. So we have a 9:30 and a 2:30. Should be off hours for their peak rushes.
Not
and then
like
again,
at noon, right?
And again, those are recorded and will remain up and available throughout the process. So if you miss it, you didn't totally miss it. You just need to go back and watch the video.
Wow, you guys have really organized this.
We've had a lot of fun.
Good.
We really have. And I think one thing that I am really grateful for is that all these programs open together, the PPE distribution. We've worked really closely, all these organizations. We've kept all the work local, which has enabled us to get to know a lot of our businesses. And both Lance and I and all our team have been taking calls and emails. But instead of having a third party administer this for us, we are taking calls. I just had one from the Perry District on my way here. We're getting to know who they are, and we're getting to know their concerns. And so that way we can better inform our commissioners, our business leaders, and our legislators to help us advocate for our community.
And the data stays local, so when we share and we look with the county and the other partners, so we're looking at the outcomes of these programs. We were able to tell through Open Together what the unmet demand was for this industry in particular, to verify the anecdotal information we were receiving from that industry to determine whether or not this was really the right path for another grant program to be stood
I
up.
presume you have the lists of local restaurants and establishments from those groups and so forth, and will be reaching out to them direct as well.
So another unique part of the program is the direct outreach that'll be done. And so most of the businesses, if they're under one of the qualifying NAICS codes, we have their contact information. They're going to receive a postcard from our coalition for this program, and then they're also going to receive direct phone calls. And so we even have some groups that are working on door-to-door, stopping in to actually knock and get them that information.
You know what it comes down to, and when I started this Spokane Talks 5 years ago now, it was focus on small business and community. And I love how you guys are working on that, and that's why I think it's so important. And we don't want to see our fellow businessmen and women fail. I mean, we just don't. I know you as a chamber, and you with what you're doing and so forth. The website to go to is?
SpokaneHospitalityGrant.com.
Okay, but if they forget all of that, they can go to the Greater Spokane Valley Chamber of Commerce, GSI, who else?
Visit Spokane. West Plains Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Spokane Partnership,
Right.
Ahana as
Okay.
well. And so all of us
Okay.
will have the links.
The basic
Yeah.
organizations, the business-related organization in town.
It will be very
There'll be
hard
a
to
link
miss
on
the
there.
link.
Yeah, okay.
And Spokane Talks.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, great. No, I thank you for what you're doing, because I know this, of all the things, I know what a chamber executive does, okay? And this is added responsibility.
We
But-
did not project that we would become experts in grant making, but 2020 is an odd year. And again, it's one of those, we looked at what our businesses need the most right now,
Yes.
and that's assistance. And so
Yes.
these programs are ones that wouldn't have happened without local organizations
That's
standing
great.
them up.
If
And-
between now and the 16th, you want to come back and remind people, you're invited, okay? Just know that. Anything you want to send us that we can post on Facebook and those kinds of things we'll do. This is important. This is an important part of industry. You look at the numbers, you look at the hospitality, you look at Visit Spokane, and the impact is about of what they've done before on an annual basis is the equivalent of about $1,000 on our property tax from the income that comes from that, and it's basically down to nothing right now, okay? So everybody's trying to get things going. I know they've done a revision in their dues structure. We're all trying to work at this the best we can, and so if there's
And
a
I
way
think
we
that's
can
where
help-
you see the partnership
Yes.
has been key between these organizations. I also just a huge thank you to our county commissioners for
Yes.
recognizing
Yes.
the need. We don't have the number statewide yet on the percent of dollars that have been directed directly towards small business, but we know that we will be
Yeah.
near the top, if not at the top, on
Good.
a percentage basis.
And we should be here
Yeah.
in the Spokane
Yeah.
region area and so forth.
Absolutely, and nearing the total that the state of Washington's allocated to small
Right.
business.
Yeah.
Our county alone will
And it's
almost
been
match
all
or
three of
exceed the
our
state.
commissioners. All three have unanimously voted these programs through, and
Yeah.
so just really thank them for
And
their
two of them
commitment.
just won re-election.
That's true. So
Yeah, not certified yet.
No.
We, but I mean, two. So yeah, I'm pleased with all that's going on, not from the negative side of things, but from the positive side of things. I keep seeing, like what you guys are doing, good things happening. People are getting together. I don't want to confront, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but talk with business people who start to tear up anymore. Let's move beyond that, okay? And let's do it. So again, the website is.
Thank you. SpokaneHospitalityGrant.com.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for your
you.
time.
Good to see you.
to
Nice
see
to
you.
meet you. All
Nice to
right.
meet you.
Let's go get them. Thank you very much for watching this special edition of The Pulse of Spokane.
We believe every person is created in the image of God with immeasurable beauty and worth, that people should not be defined by their present condition or past mistakes. We are all broken. We need each other. Healing for our brokenness begins with connection, with understanding how much we are loved by a good God. And with healing comes change, the potential for joy and meaning. No one was created for mere survival on the streets, for an existence blurred by mind-numbing substances. Each person is created with a purpose, a unique gift no one else can offer the world. Our job is to help them rediscover it. Real people, real change. Union Gospel Mission.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.